Professor Kiss here, talking about realized return and compound return, our next topic in looking at risk and return. So we want to calculate the return. So if we look at historic return, we can see the return starting in period T and ending in period T plus 1. Start with the price at which we bought the stock in period T. That will be our denominator. The yield we earn is based on what we paid for the stock. Our return will be the dividend that we receive plus the capital gains. The dividend yield is the dividend that we get in period T plus 1 divided by the price we paid in period T. The capital gain yield is calculated by the price we sell it for minus the price we bought it for, all divided by the price at which we bought it. Let's look at a simple example. Fictional Brands paid a dividend of $3 on December 21st, 2019. Suppose you bought the stock for $30 a year before and sold it immediately after the dividend was paid, and that you sold it for $31.17. What is your realized return? Well, using our formula here, we see that we got a dividend plus a capital gain. The dividend yield works out to be 10%, $3 divided by 30, and the capital gain yield is 3.9%, $1.17, which is 31.17 minus 30, divided by 30. A pretty nice return here, close to 14% over just 1 year. Of course, this is a fictional example. Now, what if you get paid dividends not annually, but quarterly? Well, then what we're going to do is something we call compounding to get our annual return. So what we need to do is to take each individual return throughout the year, add 1 to it, multiply each of those 1 plus returns together, and then we'll take the teeth root, in my example here, where it is 4 compounding periods in the year, we will take the 4th root of this. So what we're going to see here is to get our rates. For example, let's look at Microsoft. Suppose you bought Microsoft on November 1st, 2004, and you held it for 1 year. What was your annualized return if you sold it on October 31st, 2005? So the first thing we need to do is to get the data on all the prices plus the dividends paid over this period. We have a couple sources listed on this slide 12. So here I have these shown you. November 1st, the price was $28.08. A dividend was paid on November 15th for $3.08 when the stock was selling for $27.39, etc. And then we're going to sell it for $25.70 on October 31st, 2005. So what we're going to do here, we show you in slide 13 each of the data. Now we're going to use that data to calculate the returns. So for example, for November 1st, 2004 to November 15, 2004, our period return is the dividend of $3.08 plus our capital gain, which in this example is a loss, $27.39. The price on November 15th, minus $28.08, the price on November 1st when we bought it, all divided by $28.08, the price we paid, because our yield's based on the price we paid. So that gives us a numerator of $2.39 divided by our original price of $28.08, which works out to be 8.51%. 1 plus R1 will be 1.0851. We continue, as in this example, using this equation for each period until we have a series of realized returns. For example, from November 15, 2004 to February 15, 2005, the realized return is the dividend of 8 cents plus the price on February 15, $25.93, minus the price on November 15th for $27.39, and you add those together and divide by the price of $27.39, and we see that our return is over this period is minus 5.04%. So 1 plus the return, it works out to be 0.9496. So we're going to calculate each of these. We've got each of these periodic returns, and then we'll add 1 to them, and then we'll multiply 1 plus each of these returns. So here we have 1.0851 times 0.9496 times 0.9861 times 1.0675 times 0.9473, multiply together, it's 1.0275, subtract 1, and we see that our rate is 2.75%. By repeating these steps, we successfully computed the realized annual return for an investor holding Microsoft stock over this 1-year period. From this exercise, we can see that returns are risky. Microsoft fluctuated up and down over the year and ended up only slightly up 2.75% at the end of the year. Now, when we're looking at average annual returns, we're typically taking an arithmetic return average of each of the annual returns. So we've gotten our annual return for 1 year. We add up each of these and divide by t, the number of years. For our geometric return, we actually raise to the 1 over t power. That's an average compound return that corresponds to the total gain on the investment. It's a better description of the long-term historical performance. So we will be using that to calculate your return. Next, we're going to show you how to calculate standard deviation in Excel. We will use standard deviation to measure total risk. So after we show you in Excel, we'll also show you a video on how to calculate with formulas. For this course, we don't require you to use formulas, but the advantage of looking at formulas is you see the theory of how the Excel function is calculating the standard deviation. But what we're going to tell you a little later is that it is not standard deviation total risk that's important, but something known as systematic risk, and we'll be measuring systematic risk with a construct known as beta, and we'll talk about how we calculate beta a little later in the course, in the next chapter in particular.